Hi, my name is Max Squire. I am a diaspora living in Canada, and I only know that my ancestors might be Zapotec. If I wanted to learn Zapotec, what would I do? I would go online. A search of indigenous languages shows thousands of results on YouTube. Many of these videos increase the status of indigenous languages. I can also search and choose from many introductory lessons in Zapotec, and in these online videos I can see that the Zapotec culture and its people are alive and welcoming of outsiders visiting Oaxaca and learning the language. But if I really want to learn Zapotec right now, I can sign up for an online Zoom course, which are then posted on YouTube. Many scholars have been writing about how online sources can be incredibly useful for language revitalization. Furthermore, the language being taught and used by younger people on the internet helps with potential barriers to learning languages such as elder purism and language keepers. Indigenous youth using technology is also a great way to break stereotypes and increase a language's status. But first, I'd like to acknowledge that not all learners have access to the internet. Social media and digital technology are not a final solution to revitalize a language. The inability to access the following resources is known as digital inequality. Also, the things I am showing today are all free, as often financial and human resources can be better spent in things like clean water, electricity, or other basics. In 2003, the Australian government wasted almost $500,000 on indigenous language computer programs that did not work. While Australia's government meant well, the computer programs were not formally evaluated by teachers and were not accompanied by curriculum and other materials. As a result of this failure, communities got together and proposed a new project that would focus on three key approaches: a linguistic approach, a cognitive approach, and socio-cultural approaches. So the people got together and they provided a high-quality content designed to make learning easier, and it was all free. The plan was called the theory of change. When high-quality free content is released, teachers and learners are incentivized to use the free content. Not only do they learn, but teachers and learners will bring this content back to their schools, communities, and houses. This theory of change can maybe be seen globally all over the internet. A great example of this is YouTube. There's plenty of lessons, stories, documentation, pro-indigenous language videos, videos documenting progress, and educational videos that can help with learning any language. YouTube in general has not received as much scholarly attention as Twitter or Facebook, but it is still ripe with information on language revitalization. YouTube is a useful medium not only for its huge amount of information, but also the comment section has become an important space for language discourse. For example, the great amount of attention indigenous rap videos have create a comment section where language ideologies and socio-political views can be exchanged. These comments are a form of prestige and image planning. Here's some of the ideologies that might exist in indigenous rap comments. Comments can bring out the metalinguistic reflection of a language's proficiency. People may show shame they don't know the language. People will show positive signs that a language is coming back. It can show discourse about how academies or institutions aren't always the best way to teach a language. Debates in the comments might correct people's prejudice as well, and comments will express what languages should be used or should not be used. Some will discredit hip-hop as untraditional, while others will defend it. Many people will express their pride in their indigenous ethnicity and defend it if it is challenged. It is the place to celebrate indigeneity and minority languages.
That
was the Snotty-Nosed Res Kids. They are also indigenous rappers who promote language use, although they don't feel responsible for promoting the language, yet they still produce the same kind of YouTube comments that were mentioned earlier. YouTube is just one kind of social media that can be helpful for indigenous and endangered languages, but there are many more platforms. Now I'd like to talk about affinity spaces. An affinity space is a domain where people with similar goals can gather and learn. Online affinity spaces are especially useful for diasporic learners who are too far away from their target language communities. However, even non-diasporic learners might find it difficult to find events or social circles where they can practice and speak their endangered language. Learners tend to spend most of their free time speaking dominant languages. Social media is an online affinity space where members can learn together, sharing a common goal. These online communities are also particularly helpful for social inclusion. People who are less active in public might be more active in an online environment. However, this also goes both ways, as some learners have less digital literacy and do not feel as comfortable learning in an online environment. Platforms with more image-heavy focus and less discussion did not appear to be an affinity space in my opinion. Platforms like Instagram and Twitter are great for status planning and they can generate participatory nature, but it is difficult to practice and engage in learning in these platforms if they are used by themselves. Different social medias or affinity spaces might have certain benefits and disadvantages. Learners might prefer some platforms and dislike others. Here are some affinity spaces that allow for language learning and participatory behavior. Large platforms like Facebook have huge communities. There's pages for status planning, global indigenous pages, pages where you can find online teachers, and people will regularly share sources for learning. In the Chickasaw Facebook page, there is daily questions and challenges for learners to conjugate and translate. Facebook also works well for practicing in conversational questions. In one instance, a Facebook page was made for the Sami people for the purpose of playing video games in their endangered language. For them, this linked their language to popular culture. However, Facebook has drawbacks such as having disorganized discussions and a lack of implementing the knowledge that has been learned. Additionally, all social media tend to be prone to distractions and concerns over the dark side of the internet. The need to hide from internet bullying or trolling results in a need for privacy. Smaller social media such as Reddit allows for anonymity. The anonymity of Reddit might actually help learners who have certain anxieties. Also, the ability to create forums and ask questions can be fairly useful for organization. Reddit's forums also allow for some interesting questions. Reddit also has a huge page called Our Indigenous Languages. It features petitions, educational YouTube links, and portal pages for specific languages. I also got to see some translated comic books. Also learners trying to find teachers as well. There was even a developer who offered digital learning materials for free, and a Discord server took it. Discord has been expanding its uses for quite a while now. It is a steadily growing platform for smaller language communities. The members can be very active and serious about language learning. Discord is not well known as other platforms and is mostly used by youth. I believe the large presence of youth makes Discord a space without language purism, and that's exactly the reason some of the users don't use Facebook or Twitter. The pages I did find are well organized and the voice chat is useful for having conversations. I think there's definitely more social medias that are usable. However, the ones I've just mentioned are particularly relevant among youth and might therefore be more engaging. There is no global solution. Individual cultures should choose their own unique goals and see what social media and technology might suit those goals. A combination of Google+, Google Hangouts, and YouTube worked out for a Chickasaw language class that was formed on Facebook. The Sami people, in addition to using Facebook, also use blogs, Twitter, and free apps. Chinook Jargon has a presence on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and probably more. Communities should make their own language goals and see which social medias and technologies can be used. Additionally, you should be involved in creating these goals and also should be encouraged to make content. Having younger generations helping with this enterprise will raise the prestige of the revitalization effort. A good approach to social media might be described as learn about social media or an online affinity space that suits the user's goals and preferences, join both local and worldwide domains, try to focus on constructive learning and ignore the dark side of social media, and always be skeptical of online sources on the internet.